Some may call the task impossible, but history proves otherwise. China multiplied its renewable capacity 20-fold in 20 years. India tripled its capacity just in 10 years. For Africa, the question is not if it can be done, but whether we will mobilize the finance, infrastructure, and political will to deliver at scale. We value our partners' finance, technology, and solidarity. And we have many partners to our continent. Yet, our real agency lies in trusting our own institutions. That is why we convened Africa's leading financiers to drive AGII delivery. And today we formalize that collaboration. As I said in my earlier statement in another meeting, we have already mobilized African financial institutions from Afri-Exim, Trade Development Bank, AFC, and all the other financial institutions into a consortium, because we believe that even as we look up to the multilateral development institutions, we need to begin to build our own African institutions, because they understand our ecosystem better, they know what our risks are, and there will be no exaggeration of whatever nature whenever they are looking at investment opportunities in Africa. APRA has already consolidated a pipeline of US $2.5 billion in projects, with momentum set to grow at the next forum in Sierra Leone. I recognize the steadfast partnership of Denmark and Germany, including their role in establishing APRA's Nairobi International Office. Their solidarity affirms that Africa's vision finds resonance globally. Africa's strength lies in integration and collaboration. No country can build competitive value chains alone, but united through shared energy systems, financial institutions, and trade corridors, and in partnership with allies, we can transform Africa from a source of raw commodities into a hub of innovation, industry, and green growth. This summit in Addis Ababa reaffirms our clarity. I'm very proud that we've gone through the motions. We've discussed with many colleagues, heads of state and countries, on the journey that we need to undertake on industrializing Africa on a low carbon footprint. It is possible for us not only to industrialize our continent because we have what it takes to do it. We have the human capital to do it. Africa is a young continent, teeming with young people, creative, innovative, educated, energetic. We have the resources to do it, natural resources in minerals, energy resources, renewable from geothermal, what we have in plenty in Kenya, to wind, to solar, to hydro. Tomorrow, we will be launching one of Africa's largest hydro projects, renewable energy here in Ethiopia, signifying the array of opportunities that are there in the renewable energy space. And therefore, we have everything that will drive Africa's green industrialization. And that is the reason why we took the decision that Africa Green Industrialization Initiative is the post that we need to use, not to look for support, but to look for investments. Because this green space is going to flip the fortunes of our continent, because we have every resource and we are aligned in making sure that Africa takes the lead in the fourth industrial revolution. In any case, by 2050, we will have the single largest market, we will have the largest workforce in the world, and we will also have, let us turn the 300 gigawatt target into projects jobs, trade, and long-term prosperity for our people and for our continent. And that is why we are meeting here this afternoon, so that we can put pen to paper on turning what was a target of 300 gigawatts of energy into projects, creating jobs out of it, facilitating trade, and of course, making sure that we leave no African behind. I am very proud that in our midst, our financial institutions are stepping up to this challenge. Congratulations to them. And they are helping us change the narrative. They are helping us shape the conversation. That as we look out for partners globally, we must have our own financial institutions appropriating the space around investment, appropriating the space around mobilizing resources. Because if we are to get other partners coming on board, our own financial institutions must take the lead. They understand the terrain better. They understand our risks, if there are any, better, and they understand our opportunities even much more. And therefore, they provide, we need to find the mechanism and the bridge that will not only make us discuss money from multilateral development banks, concessional funding from IDA and all the others, but private sector money. And I find a lot of value that today, for example, in Kenya, we are doing more roads using private sector money. We are doing more projects using private-public partnerships, because that way you can leverage on public resources and scale them up using private sector resources. If we find the correct mechanism, we can reduce on borrowing and do more with investment. And therefore, this gives an opportunity to our private sector. This gives an opportunity to our financial institutions, not only to transform our continent, but also to grow our institutions. These banks may be not so big today, but working with them, giving them the opportunity to invest in some of our large projects, certainly they will grow into big organizations that can then underwrite and support the development of our continent. This is a very, very proud moment for me as I see African financial institutions step up and participate in Africa's transformation. Thank you very much for your attention. We made commitments as a continent. We have kept our part of the bargain. We expect our partners in COP30 to keep their part of their bargain and measure up to the commitments that were made and double that commitment going into the future, because that is what Africa is looking for. We remain open to partnerships, but we are concerned that developed countries are retreating from adaptation finance despite their commitments. Today's Global Center on Adaptation report shows financing is falling when it was meant to double by 2025 under the Glasgow Pledge. COP30 must be a turning point, a stocktake of promises and new commitments that put adaptation at the center of global climate action. Africa appeals to partners to hold the line and deliver meaningful commitments. The costs of inaction are real and devastating. They force leaders to divert scarce resources from urgent development needs. Yet, adaptation also presents a $4 trillion investment opportunity by 2025. Africa, as the front line of this crisis, will also be the frontier of that opportunity. We are not waiting, we are moving. Join us. Finally, I am proud that the Africa Adaptation Acceleration Program is now firmly anchored in Africa. Nairobi is the new home of the Global Center on Adaptation under the honorary chairmanship of Ban Ki-moon, with His Excellency Macky Sall in our midst as chair of the board, and Professor Patrick right here as CEO. This is Africa-owned, Africa-led, and